with some Rouser to introduce our next witness, Mayor Darryl Mills.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a great honor and pleasure to have my friend and the mayor of Wrightsville Beach, Darryl Mills, here to testify today, who has been a resident of Wrightsville Beach for a long time. In fact, grew up there. And anyhow, is a great citizen, a great mayor serving in his second term. And I present to you Mayor Darryl Mills.
Mr. Mayor, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Bentz, Ranking Member Huffman, members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you and speak in support of H.R. 524 relative to amending the Coastal Barrier Resources Act. Since federal funds have been first available, which was in the 1960s, to spend to protect coastal areas, Wrightsville Beach has been the beneficiary on a 4-year cycle of those funds. That has allowed Wrightsville Beach to protect valuable coastal infrastructure, property, indeed life. In over 50 years of these cycle events, as Congressman Rouser has ably described, there has been no evidence of any detrimental impact on the ecosystem around Masonburg Inlet or the sound areas around Wrightsville Beach. None. The interpretation of COBRA the recent interpretation of COBRA, which prohibits us from using Masonburg Inlet, is part of a broad sweeping, you can't do this approach. I recognize in some places that may be appropriate, but we have over 50 years of active, ongoing activity that shows it's not the case for us. There's no evidence. To the contrary, Masonburg Inlet is actively used for fishing, boating, swimming, and the Audubon Society has a huge bird sanctuary right there beside it. It is not negatively impacting anything from an environmental point of view, which is, as we have already said, one of the main goals of COBRA. We don't argue with that. We support that. We very much cooperate with Audubon and their bird sanctuary. A significant part of their sanctuary is on our property. Our dredging, which again we've been doing since 1960s, has not affected that at all. There's zero negative environmental impact. The other concern, as ably described by Mr. Strickler, is cost. These events are expensive, but they serve a valuable purpose. They protect valuable infrastructure, valuable property. Your Army Corps of Engineers does an economic analysis every time a beach nourishment event is on the horizon. Wrightsville Beach continually, every time, is at the top or near the top of that return on investment. The return on the federal dollars spent is significantly higher than many projects that you continue to fund. I'm not saying that to criticize those projects. I'm saying that to reinforce that the concern about the expenditure of federal funds, and I'm a taxpayer, I share that concern, is being well spent at Wrightsville Beach. The cost of these events, as we have now discussed with the marine dredging contractors that do this work and have been doing this work every cycle, we're looking at doubling or tripling or even more what it costs us to get the sand out of Masonburg Inlet. So if you want wise expenditure of federal funds, don't go sending us miles offshore. Let us continue a proven, logical, expeditious, and efficient system of recycling sand. We recycle Wrightsville Beach, Masonburg Inlet, Wrightsville Beach. It's worked beautifully for over 50 years at much less cost than going offshore. Couple that with the unknown of mining sand out in the ocean. How will that affect the ocean floor? What's the impact on marine life? We don't know. It's an unknown. What we do know is it has not impacted Masonburg Inlet and the ecosystem there. We know that. We've got decades of proof. So I implore you, I ask you, I request from you respectfully to support H.R. 24. It's the smart thing to do. I thank you for your attention and for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.